Hello, my cute white lilies. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel, and let's start chapter 10 of Two Souls Written in Scars. It had been quite a while. Trishvika couldn't hear any gunshots. The firing had stopped for almost 10 minutes now. Gathering some courage, Trishvika opened the washroom door. She scanned the room sharply. There was no one. Absolute silence. Her breathing was heavy and fast. Was everything over outside? Were the people in the mansion safe? Akshar, was he okay? Why hadn't he come back to her room yet? He had said that once everything was under control, he'd come back to her first. Then why hadn't he? Did something happen to him? Was Akshar okay? With all these thoughts racing through her mind, Trishvika reached the door of her room. Should she go out and check? But what if the danger hadn't passed yet? What if Akshar needed her? He had just saved her life a while ago. So, shouldn't she be with him now? In this dilemma, Trishvika unlocked her door and slowly stepped outside. The mansion was in a terrible state. Everything was broken and scattered. She peeked over the balcony, looking down at the hall. About 10 dead bodies lay across the floor, soaked in blood. Her eyes desperately searched for Akshar among them. Her heartbeat was racing, but how could she even recognize him? As she continued scanning the hall from above, she saw someone. Kainat, laying motionless near the couch. Blood was pouring from her head. Trishvika's heart almost stopped. She remembered this morning. This very girl had smiled so brightly while greeting her. Trishvika immediately rushed toward the stairs. But before she could even place a foot on the steps, someone pointed a gun at the back of her head, and she froze where she stood. She couldn't move an inch. The man behind her said coldly, "Move even a little, and I'll pump all these bullets straight into your head." No, please, don't kill me. Trishvika stammered, the fear clearly visible in her eyes. The man sneered. "Are you the precious thing Akshar Purushottam found again?" What? What are you talking about? I don't understand anything. She replied, her lips trembling. "Whether you are of any use to him or not, you are of no use to me, so get ready to die." "No, please, I don't want to die." Trishvika's entire life flashed before her eyes. "Stop!" Akshar's voice echoed in her ears. She looked down the stairs. Akshar was standing right in front of her. His white shirt was now stained with blood. There was a gun in his hand, and for the first time, Trishvika saw fear in his eyes. Her eyes welled up instantly, and all she could say was, "Akshar, you're okay. Why did you leave the room? I told you not to." His voice was laced with anger and anxiety. So this is Akshar Purushottam's weakness, isn't it? The man behind her smirked with maniac. Akshar closed his eyes, took a deep breath, then gritted his teeth and said, "Let her go. Or else you won't like what happens." "Or else? You're in no position to make demands, Akshar Purushottam." The man grinned devilishly. "Boss will be thrilled to hear this. For the first time, Akshar Purushottam is helpless." Akshar stared at the man for a moment and asked, "What do you want?" "Kneel down, Akshar Purushottam," the man ordered. "Drop your gun and beg for her life. Maybe then I'll spare her." Trishvika's eyes widened in shock. Akshar Purushottam would kneel down for her. That was impossible. He only made a deal with her parents for her because they couldn't repay his money. Why would he kneel and beg for her life? Her eyes were now filled with tears. She knew she wasn't going to survive. She stared blankly at Akshar standing below, and then something happened that made her tears fall like pearls. She saw Akshar slowly get down on his knees. He placed his gun down and said, "Look, I've put my gun down. Now, now let her go. She has nothing to do with this. She's innocent. This fight is between me and Omang. Keep it between us." Akshar Purushottam on his knees. I can't believe it. The man taunted. Now beg. Beg for her life. Akshar looked at Trishvika. Gritting his teeth in helplessness, he said, "Let her go. Please." The man laughed, a wicked expression returning to his face. He cocked the trigger and said, "You really think I'm stupid enough to believe that?" But before he could pull the trigger, a bullet came from nowhere and pierced right through his head. Yet, just before falling, he pushed Trishvika down the stairs. She lost her balance and slipped. Seeing her fall, Akshar's eyes widened. "Trishvi!" he screamed. He immediately ran up and caught her just in time, but her head had already hit the stairs several times, and her body was brushed badly. She was unconscious in Akshar's arms. As he held her, Akshar began to panic. He looked up, and there stood the man from the mafia headquarters. He was holding a gun. It must have been him who shot the attacker. Akshar nodded to him in silent understanding, and the man returned the nod. Then, carrying Trishvika in his arms, Akshar left the mansion. About an hour later, the doctor came out of the ward. Akshar's face was tense. He immediately rushed to her and asked, "Doctor, Trishvi, is she okay? Has she regained consciousness?" "No, Mr. Purushottam. She has suffered a serious injury. It will take time for her to regain consciousness. The fact that she survived is a miracle in itself," the doctor replied. "But there is also some bad news." "Bad news? What bad news, doctor?" Akshar's heartbeat grew louder. The doctor said regretfully, "I'm sorry, Mr. Purushottam. We couldn't save her baby. She's lost the child." What? Baby? Akshar was in shock. "Yeah, she was 2 months pregnant. She had a miscarriage. Please be strong." Yeah, doctor. When will she regain consciousness?" "It's hard to say, but hopefully by morning," the doctor said and left. Akshar was stunned. Trishvika was pregnant? 2 months pregnant? He held his head in disbelief. How did he not know this? Such a big thing, and he had no idea. Now, what would he say to her? What would he tell her when she asked about her baby? In rage, he slammed his hand against the wall and said, What have I done? She was going to bring a new life into this world, and I shouldn't have let this happen. So much pain, so much suffering I've caused her. God, what have I done?" After calming himself a little, Akshar walked into Trishvika's ward. She was laying motionless on the bed, as if life had drained out of her. She was still unconscious. Her head and arms were bandaged, showing signs of deep wounds. Akshar walked closer. Her face had turned completely pale. He brushed the strands of hair away from her face and gently touched her cheek with his fingers. "I'm sorry, Sparrow. Please forgive me." The next morning, Trishvika slowly opened her eyes. She felt a sharp pain in her head. Instinctively, her head reached up to her head, where she realized it was wrapped in bandages. The moment she felt that, everything came rushing back, everything that had happened last night at the mansion. Someone had held her at gunpoint, and she had seen Akshar kneel before that man with her own eyes. Now Trishvika was fully conscious. Her eyes began scanning the ward, searching for something or someone. And then her gaze fell toward her feet. Akshar was sleeping right there at her feet. His hair was messy, falling over his eyes. He was still wearing the same white shirt from the last night, stained with now dried splatters of blood. For a few moments, Trishvika couldn't take her eyes off his face. Who is this man? And why is he doing all this? Last night, he had kneeled before someone just to save her life. He had begged for her life. But why? And now he was sleeping at her feet. Why? What exactly is his relationship with her? Why is he doing all this? There were so many questions, but Trishvika didn't have a single answer. All the answers lay with Akshar Purushottam. Lost in these thoughts, Trishvika tried to sit up, but as she moved, Akshar's eyes fluttered open. Seeing her trying to get up, he immediately spoke. "You're awake?" Hearing his voice, Trishvika looked at him. There was concern on Akshar's face. When she didn't say anything, he asked, "How are you feeling now?" I'm okay," Trishvika replied. "Just my head hurts." Akshar came closer and helped her sit up. "Let me help you." Once she was seated on the bed, Trishvika asked, "Kainat, I saw her last night. Is she okay?" "She's fine," Akshar reassured her. Trishvika let out a deep breath. Seeing Kainat in that state last night had terrified her. She had feared the worst. Stammering slightly, she asked, "Last night, those people, who were they?" At that question, Akshar remained silent for a moment. Then he said, "You need to rest." "No, I want to know." Trishvika had just started to speak when a voice echoed in the room. "Hello, Mr. Purushottam." Both Akshar and Trishvika looked toward the doctor. As Akshar stood up, he replied, "Hello, I'll just check on Miss Jindal." The doctor said, "You may wait outside." "Sure, doctor," Akshar said, giving Trishvika one last glance before walking out. As the doctor checked her pulse and heartbeat, she asked, "How are you feeling now?" "My head hurts and I feel extremely weak, doctor. It's like I don't even have the energy to move my body." Trishvika replied, You have suffered a serious injury, so pain and weakness are to be expected," the doctor explained. Trishvika placed a hand on her belly and asked, "Doctor, my baby? Is my baby okay? You haven't told Mr. Purushottam, have you?" The doctor fell silent. Trishvika's face started showing signs of worry. She asked again, "Doctor, what happened?" "Miss Jindal, what happened last night was terrible. You were already under a lot of stress and physically drained. Then the sudden shock and falling down the stairs, you lost your baby. We couldn't save the child, Miss Jindal. I'm really very sorry," the doctor said gently. Hearing those words, Trishvika's eyes went blank. She couldn't say a word. Not a single tear fell from her eyes. The one reason she had to live had also been taken from her. The doctor placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "Take care of yourself. I'll be going now." The doctor then walked out. Outside, Akshar was waiting for her. He asked, "Doctor, how is she doing?" "We'll need to keep her under observation for a few more days," the doctor replied. "She might need you now. She just found out about her miscarriage. She'll need care." Akshar nodded and said, "Okay, doctor." The doctor left the room. Akshar placed his hand on the doorknob to open the ward door, but for some reason he couldn't summon the courage to face Trishvika right now. But he had to go inside. Trishvika was alone. She needed someone right now, and she had no one else here who could be there for her. Akshat took a deep breath and walked in. As soon as he entered, he saw Trishvika sitting up against the pillow. Her hand was resting on her belly, and she was staring out the window. Her eyes were filled with tears, but not a single drop had fallen onto her face. Her eyes, though full of tears, looked empty. Akshar felt a strange restlessness inside him. He was the reason behind all this. If he hadn't forcibly brought her to the mansion, none of this would have happened. He alone was responsible for her condition. With great difficulty, he said, "The doctor told me my baby is dead," Trishvika said suddenly. "I know." Hearing her words, Akshar lowered his head. For the first time, Akshar Purushottam regretted his actions. He said, "I'm sorry. I'm responsible for all this. I'm really sorry." Trishvika didn't say a word about whose fault it was or wasn't. Was it Akshar's fault for bringing her to the mansion, or her parents for making a deal with him, or was it Devyansha's for betraying and leaving her? But in the end, it was she who was suffering. It was her baby that was lost. It was she who was in pain. No one else. Seeing her silence, Akshar felt he should leave her alone for now. So he walked out of the ward. He couldn't bear the emptiness in her eyes. He closed his eyes, and the image of Trishvika's radiant, laughing face flashed before him. Her cheerful voice echoed in his ears. "Me? I want to get married at the age of 25 to a very handsome and romantic man. And then I want a lovely little daughter. I already have a name for her. And then a cute little son. I want a small happy family." Akshar opened his eyes. What Trishvika had once dreamed of, today the exact opposite was happening to her. She got married, yes, but to a man who betrayed her. She became pregnant, but never got to hold her baby in her arms. She had everything, and yet everything was taken away. While Akshar was lost in these thoughts, the same man who had shot the attacker walked in, and as soon as he entered, he asked, "Akshar, what happened? Are you okay?" Akshar looked at him and asked, "Yeah, what's up? Any news about Umang?" "Umang left the country last night, but don't worry, I'll find him," the man replied. Clenching his jaw in fury, Akshar said, "I want that man in front of me as soon as possible, Bhargav. I want to kill him with my own hands." The man standing before Akshar was Bhargav Kashyap. Bhargav was the corporigim of the Alpha organization, meaning he managed all the soldiers of the organization, and he was also Akshar's close friend. He asked, "How's she now?" Okay," Akshar replied, not revealing the whole truth. "She's just regained consciousness." "All right, take care of her. I'm heading out," Bhargav said and left. That same night, when the doctor came to check Trishvika, she asked, "How are you feeling now?" Trishvika still hadn't spoken a word. She just nodded. The doctor said, "You'll be discharged soon. You can go home after that." Again, Trishvika just nodded. As the doctor turned to leave, Trishvika spoke. "Doctor?" "Yes, Miss Jindal." The doctor responded. Trishvika asked, Can I get something to help me sleep? A sleeping pill or an injection? I want to sleep, but I can't." "I'm sorry, but I can't give you a sedative right now. Please try to rest naturally," the doctor replied. Trishvika nodded again and the doctor left. After the doctor was gone, Trishvika glanced around and once again saw the window. She got up from her bed and walked toward it. The desire to live had completely vanished from inside her. What was left in her life now? Her baby was all she had, and now even God had taken that away from her. She looked down from the window. Her ward was on the 13th floor. If she jumped from here, survival would be impossible. She kept staring at the ground. Her heart urged her to jump. Her mind argued that life wasn't over yet, that she could survive this pain too. She was caught in this internal battle when someone suddenly pulled her back forcefully from behind. Her head landed against someone's chest. She could hear the racing heartbeat, faster than normal. She recognized that touch instantly. It was Akshar. His deep voice rang in her ears. What were you about to do? How could you even think of something like that, huh? Trishvika didn't respond it for a long time, but slowly her muffled sobs filled the entire ward, and gradually those sobs turned into full-blown cries. Akshay just stood there, holding her tightly in his arms. He didn't tell her to stop crying. He didn't try to soothe her because the storm that raged inside Trishvika, no one could calm it. No one, except Trishvika herself. He couldn't even feel her pain because this was a pain no one else could ever truly feel, except a mother who had lost her child. Hey Lilies, your turn to shine. What stole your heart in this chapter and what didn't? What deserves a little extra love? Share your thoughts in below. I can't wait to hear your opinion. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this update with your favorite bookworms. Your support fuels our journey with this novel. Stay tuned for more twists and turns in Two Souls Written in Scars. Until then, may your dreams be filled with your favorite fictional characters. All yours, Satyanshi.